Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Data Dispatch. I hope you guys are having a great day. I do have some news, unfortunately, for you guys out there that have been watching me like a hawk. I have not been able to clean up the neck beard yet. Still living the Amish vibes right now. I will be able to clean that up. You guys watch me like a hawk, but hey, I appreciate it. Keeping me in check, make sure I'm staying clean. So let's talk about PLTR and what we could have possibly going on in tomorrow's market after we had, of course, after Friday's trading session with the news that they were not included in the S&P 500. And what we saw was kind of a buy the rumor, sell the news. Right now, in terms of trading, Robinhood right now has overnight trading that opened up at 8 p.m. and it's sitting at 24. So after hours actually closed right under beneath 24. We're seeing a little bit of the buy the dip right now in the overnight trading session. However, big changes could happen once we actually hit pre-market and actual market. Now, before we get too far, if you are a new or returning viewer, hit that like button, subscribe for daily videos, and of course, I'm not a financial advisor. I'm collecting on the data and dispatching it to you. What we see with PLTR as we speak, pop it up on the screen right here, is 24.93 is where the actual market close was for the stock. Now, year to date highs are around this 25 and 25 area. If PLTR, with the news of the S&P 500 not getting included in that and actually being snubbed, we'll be talking about this article right here, and I think why this is an overreaction. We mentioned this in yesterday's video. We're going to continue on that because Palantir really hasn't changed much as a business. And if we see a sell-off here or a little bit of a pullback, where we should be looking for PLTR. If a pullback does occur, I think an important reversal point that was hit before, and we actually saw kind of a bullish trend and trading pattern being formulated after that reversal, was right here in the mid-20s. Now, this is not a concrete level of support to rely on for a key reversal pattern due to the fact that there's not a ton of recent trading history in the mid-20s. Palantir has just recently re-entered this mid-20s after the Q4 earnings explosion, and of course, after the AI boom has continued to be a large catalyst for the buying pressure and momentum. I mean, just take NVIDIA, for example, you can see right here, up at 822 right now as we speak. So with PLTR, it'll be interesting to see what happens. However, if PLTR does come down possibly into the 22s, even touching lower, an area of support that could be tested upon, if I can get the dang chart right here, would be at around the 20s. That could be a key level of support. And the reason why is because that was a previous level of resistance that Palantir took a long time to overcome and to hold above. But the fact that we have consolidation here is looking great. And in terms of resistance, 25. So with what we've been saying here, in terms of Palantir being snubbed right here, in terms of the S&P 500, what actually got included was a shoe company, I believe, and Super Micro Computer. That's more kind of directly related to PLTR. However, in terms of the actual fundamentals behind the company, nothing has really changed. And what I'm trying to get at here is if people are looking to possibly dollar cost average or enter into a position they've been waiting to thinking that this is a high valuation, which right now it is, but there's a lot of high valuations and it actually is comparable to a lot of the other SaaS stocks and also AI related stocks, all trading at very high price of sales right now due to the demand that we are seeing. PLTR could become more of an attractive price. And I think we're going to be talking about big questions right now that I'm getting across the board. Is it too late to buy Palantir stock? I don't think it's too late, depending on, in my own opinion, too, of course, your time trajectory and what the prosperity could bring with that time trajectory is really looking into your own risk assessment. If you look at PLTR over the next decade, $25 may seem cheap. However, if you're looking in the short term here, maybe it's really expensive. We have to remember that Palantir really is a leading competitor, and they've been around for a long time. They've been around since 2003. Though they only IPO'd about 3 years ago, you also got to think that they've traded at higher prices. They've been in the 30s. They even touched the 40s. So Palantir was able to get to these price targets and to these actual values before they've even introduced AIP, before they made these large swings to GAAP profitability. And as we sit with PLTR, and really what AIP has done, has really tailored great business in terms of the commercial and governmental side of things, working on cloud subscriptions, software subscriptions, and professional services. And if we look at Palantir, this is a great article that breaks it down. I am a Seeking Alpha affiliate. I do want to mention that. So if you do want to get 20% off on premium, just check out the affiliate link down below because I rely on them a lot for a lot of the data that I do actually consume. One of the biggest things that we are seeing with PLTR and that we saw in the last quarter earnings was the total customer count. We saw over here this 35% year-over-year growth in terms of total customer count, and commercial customer count 44% year-over-year growth, totaling 497 by the end of fiscal year 2023. So at the end of fiscal year 2023, they have 497 customers. If you look in terms of the potential customers that are out there, all the companies getting into AI, this is a small subsector. Even though Palantir is continuing to increase, marking here a 35% year-over-year increase, the commercial segment has really been a key catalyst that has been a main driver, I think, for profitability and for great earnings reports for PLTR. And also what we are seeing is revenue from the top clients. They're also experiencing an uptick, and revenue from the top 20 customers is climbing by 11%. So the current customers that Palantir has on board, they're satisfied and they're spending more money, bringing more revenue to PLTR. So the fact that you have them not included in the S&P 500, we could see a little bit of a pullback due to that news, or however that could be ignored. Everybody could be acknowledging kind of what my opinion is sitting at right now, is that nothing's really changed about PLTR, that there's still a few quarters to go. We still have many quarters to go in this year with the actual quarterly review for the S&P 500. It still could be happening. Next one I think is around June if we talk about that. But in terms of what we have for a healthy balance sheet, Palantir has one of the best balance sheets that I've seen among more of these companies that are starting to get in the limelight and starting to gain a lot of attractiveness, not just from retail, but institutional investors across the board. And with Palantir, they have $3.7 billion in cash right now and no debt on its balance sheet. What I love and what this tells me is when times get tough for the market, when people and do not want to spend money, if we see a large reversal, say in AI, and all of a sudden we have all these customers that, hey, they don't want to get into AI right now. They don't have the extra money to spend getting AI involved into their businesses and into their platforms. PLTR can sit on cash for a long time and does not have a ton of liabilities. That is why I think PLTR, this high valuation, is coming with it. And this stock is not a course for all the value-oriented investors out there. Just looking at the math right now, surging over 200% last year, you have the combination of Palantir having revenue with improved profitability. They've now had 5 quarters of GAAP profitability, and you see significant gains with their AIP platform showing robust growth, especially in the commercial segment. No wonder why they have a very high valuation. It's going to take time for PLTR to mature and to grow into this valuation. And I've talked about this before. PLTR being included in the S&P 500 will be a great next step in the next interval for PLTR to try to achieve some of that maturity. So what we see in terms of the risk, it's important to acknowledge the risk, is the intense competition. One thing that I do like for PLTR is that they've been in this for decades, which means they have a lot of experience, and the fact that they're putting a lot of their resources right now into getting involved into the private and commercial sector has really been bullish. And I agree with this article right here that I think the commercial customers in its recent years that suggest the growth that we've seen, I think this will constitute the majority of its overall revenue and leading to accelerated sales growth going forward. And I think I could see outpacing governmental contracts within the next few years. They did a great job gaining the credibility with getting involved in the governmental contracts, but now tapping into the private sector. I think they have a lot of opportunities to diversify the industries that they're getting involved in. And another risk here is the long sales cycle, is that basically potential customers, they need to rely, like I said, on the market being good for these companies to have extra money on hand to be able to buy AIP platforms, to get into Foundry, Gotham, all the different services that they offer. PLTR, another great thing that we're seeing in terms of valuation, why I think it's higher, is the earnings per share revisions. We don't have earnings for a while here, May 8th. That's not till, like I said, a few months from now. But we see 16 bullish earnings per share revisions in the last 90 days. No wonder why the valuation is high. So I think for all the criticizers out there that keep saying, hey, the valuation's way too high, the valuation's way too high. I mean, right now, in my opinion, there's really not a reason for it not to be. Everybody's looking at this and saying, holy Toledo, Palantir is continuing to smash expectations. And I think if they do that, it's going to continue to trade a high valuation. Valuation to me is a future gauge on what investors are predicting earnings reports to be. Everybody thinks they're going to continue to smash that. We see in the earnings per share revisions, and they continue to do that. So we'll see what happens with time. But other than that, a little bit of a pullback here could be possibly great entry points for people out there that are looking on the sidelines. But take it for what you have, and of course, with a grain of salt. Do your own research out there. I'll catch you guys later. Peace out and take care. And thank you to the channel members that have joined on the Data Dispatch Squad. I can't thank you guys enough. Peace out.